do some extra work on hips tonight. So not extreme hips, but we're going to have more of a focus on hips tonight. So just so you know as well, the Himalayan Institute, we're doing another retreat there in September. There were a lot of people that wanted to go to the one earlier in the year, and it just sold out way too quickly. So we're adding a second one on. It's from September 15th to the 18th, and Lisa Taylor will be leading that one again. So if you have any questions about that or you want to get signed up, reserve your spot, let me know. Let's get started in child's pose. Spread out your fingers nice and wide on your mat in your child's pose. Let your hips settle down towards the floor. Take the first few moments just to let yourself settle in the room. Let your body be on your mat. Let your fingertips touch the mat and start to tap into what's going on right here in this moment, in this single pose. So take a full breath in through your nose. Fill yourself all the way up. And exhale through your mouth. Yeah, start to clear out the cobwebs. Breathe in. Big breath out. One more like that. Fill up. Empty everything. And start to build your Ujjayi breath. A long inhale with a pause at the top and a long exhale with a pause at the bottom. Just really purposeful and methodical right from the start. That purposeful 4-part breath is super important, especially when you get towards the end of your practice and you're holding poses longer and deeper than you'd be able to do in the beginning of the practice. So the breath starts here, downward facing dog. Keep building that breath. Move your body around any way you need to in your down dog. Pedal out the feet, shake out the head. Maybe you take a longer stance or a wider stance in this down dog and just see if that's a better fit for you tonight. Walk your feet up to your hands, hang in ragdoll. Pit of your belly, weight in and up. Keep a little bit of softness to your knees, even though most of the stretch is happening in the middle of your back and your low back. A little softness to the knees so you can really get into the 4 corners of both of your feet, straight down into the mat. Rise all the way up to standing. Reach through your fingertips. Bring your thumbs to heart center. Set your intention for practice. Pick one specific thing that you want to focus on. We'll send out those intentions with 3 ohms. Deep breath in. Inhale, reach up, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, tricep pull if you've got weights. High push-up and pause. Pause in your high push-up. Instead of just tapping knee to elbow, I want you to come all the way out to the side. So you're almost tapping your knee onto the outside of your tricep. So do it once on the right and once on the left. Then low push-up or lower to the mat. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a full breath in together. Empty it out. Good. 2 more. Breathe in. Breath out. 1 more. Fill. Empty everything. Move forward. Feet to hands. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. Fold down. Extended mountain. A long inhale all the way up. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. High push up. Right knee out to the right, left knee out to the left. Good. Low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in together. Empty it out. Breath in. Breath out. 1 more. Fill up. Exhale everything. Step or jump to the head of your mat. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. Fold down. Extended mountain, press into the feet, rise all the way up. Forward fold. Halfway lift, tricep pull. High push up. Right knee to right tricep. Left knee to left tricep. Low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. 3 big breaths. In, empty. Big inhale. Purposeful exhale. 1 more. Empty to the pit of your belly. Feet to hands. Halfway lift, tricep pull. Fold down. Extended mountain rise up. Lift up through your chest and look up. Forward fold. Halfway lift, tricep pull. High push up. Right knee to the right. Left knee to the left. Low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in together. Empty it out. Full breath. Clear it out. Good. 1 more. Empty everything. Look forward and move. Feet to hands. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. Fold down. Last sunny. Rise up to standing and reach. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. High plank. Right knee to right tricep. Left knee to left tricep. Low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in together. Empty it out. Breath in. Exhale. 1 more. Empty completely. Move forward. Halfway lift, tricep pull. Fold down. Chair pose and stay. Add lots of breath into this chair pose and get settled way back into your hips. Toes light and lifted on the floor. Yes, keep them light and lifted. Take 1 more breath in. Twist right on your exhale. Inhale, open your arms. Stay for the breath out. Back to chair. Twist left. Inhale, open. Stay and twist. Back to chair. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. High push up. Knee to tricep. Knee to tricep. Low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right side warrior 1. You've got 1 big breath to reach all the way up to the ceiling. Low push up on your exhale. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left side warrior 1. Step. Set your gaze right on 1 spot. Low push up. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in together. Clear it out. Breathe in. Exhale. 1 more. Clear everything out. Move forward. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. Fold down. Chair pose for 1 breath this time. Reach. Twist right. Inhale, open. Exhale, stay. Back to chair. Twist left. Inhale to open. Stay and breathe out. Back to chair. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. High push up. Knee tap. Knee tap. Low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right side warrior 1. Take a long, slow inhale all the way up to your fingertips. Chaturanga on your exhale. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Left side warrior 1. Step, press, and stretch up. Chaturanga, hands to the mat. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in together. Clear it out. 2 more. Breath in. Push the air back out. Make it purposeful. Last 1. Exhale completely. Feet to hands. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. Fold down. Chair pose. Sit deep. Twist right. Inhale. Open your arms. Stay and breathe out. Love the fingers. Chair pose. Reach. Twist left. Inhale to open. Stay and breathe out. Back to chair. Fold. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. High push up. Knee tap. Knee tap. Low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right side warrior 1. Take a deeper lunge in the front leg this time. Press the foot down. Good. Chaturanga. Inhale up. Exhale down. Left side warrior 1. Step, press, root the big toe mounds. Low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a full breath in together. Clear it out. Breath in. Exhale. Last one. Push all the air out. Feet to hands. You've got one more sun bee. Halfway lift. Fold down. Chair pose. Lift the toes. Twist right. Inhale, open. Stay and breathe out. Back to chair. Pit of the belly up. Twist left. Inhale, open. Stay and breathe out. Back to chair. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Tricep pull. High plank. Knee to tricep. Knee to tricep. Low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Warrior one, right side. Step, lunge deep, and lift your chest. Low push-up. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Left side. Warrior one. Knee right on top of your front ankle. Chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Take a full breath in together. Clear it out. Breath in. Breath out. Last one. Empty completely. Send your right leg up to the sky. Bend your knee and open your hip. Slow as you can, flip your dog. Slow motion, yes. And then touch the foot to the floor. Full connection. Wide open space through your chest. If you're still in the three-legged dog, great. Press your chest back to where the two walls meet behind you, right in the corner of the room. Flip back over, side plank. Left hand up to the sky. You can have a weight in that left hand if you want, but make sure that both of your shoulders are stacked one right on top of the other if you're using the weights. Now, everybody flex your ankles and spread your toes. Yeah, David, there you go. One more breath here. Chaturanga, hands to the floor. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Send your left leg up to the sky. Bend your knee and open your hip. Slow as you can, flip your dog. Stretch the lines of your body until your foot touches the ground. Then wide open, past the front edge of your mat. If wheel's there for you, yes, Bob, land in your wheel. Get each one of your fingertips down into the floor. Beautiful. Flip back over, side plank. Right hand up to the sky. It's all about stacking joint on top of joint, bone on top of bone, and then the muscles to stabilize those two things. Flex the ankles. Yes, Jenna, spread the toes. One more breath. Low push-up. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. I think it's a good time for a sigh. Breathe in together. Let it go. You can sigh louder than that. Breathe in. Yeah, one more. Exhale it out. Right side crescent lunge. Drop your back knee to the floor. So right foot down, left knee in the back. And you might scoot your front foot forward a little bit so you can get a longer stretch in the front of your left hip. But you want those hips to be square, right to the front edge of your mat. Hands up to the ceiling. Come back into the breath. If it got away from you, just choose to restart here in this crescent lunge. Lean into it, stretch. Go until you feel that pulling, that stretching right across the front of your left hip. Tuck your toes on your back foot. Stay here or press up into crescent lunge. Yes, you still got that line of stretch. Now it's from your back ankle up the front of your thigh and maybe even up into your torso. Hands to heart center. Twist right. Elbow outside your knee, and then you choose if you want your palms touching or you want your arms apart. Add more breath. Plug your front big toe mound down into the mat and keep pressing that back heel up to the ceiling so that line of stretch, yes, Paul, I saw that, stays nice and active. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Crescent lunge. Warrior 2, open up. Oh, yeah, land in the warrior 2. So this is really the first pose where you land and you've got one of your hips at least that's opening up here. So take time to get settled into it and then lunge nice and deep in your front leg. Knees stacked on top of your ankle. Extended side angle. Stay low in your lunge. Thigh parallel with the mat or at least close to that. Take a bind, half bind, top arm around your back. Maybe the full bind with your bottom arm underneath your front thigh to meet the fingertips. So you can definitely use a strap or a towel if you're working on that full bind. Knee over your ankle. You've got one more breath together. High to low push-up. Woo, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take one breath in. Exhale and reset. Left side crescent lunge. Step your left foot through. Drop the right knee to the mat. Square hips to the front, and then you adjust, scooting that front foot forward so that you start to build the stretch in the front of your right hip. Right up the thigh and into the hip. Hands up to the sky. Yeah, some of you are getting really deep in there. If you're getting pretty deep down into it and there's a nice deep stretch happening, remember to lift the front of your pelvis up to balance those pieces out. Now, stay with your back knee down or press up to full crescent lunge. Yes. Beautiful. All toes on your back foot rooted into the mat. Hands to heart. Twist left. Palms together or arms apart. So just keep checking back in with the foundation of the pose. Is your front big toe mount still in the mat? Can you still feel that line of stretch from your back ankle up through the front of your hip? Yes, Bob. There you go. Here for 5, 4, 3. You got this. 2, 1. Crescent lunge. Warrior 2. Open up. Good stuff. Come back to the breath. Land in both of your feet. Equal amount of weight between both of the feet. Deep lunge in the front leg. Because you can always dial it back if you need to, but come right up to the edge of it and then find the sweet spot. Extended side angle. Steady, rhythmic breath. If you can't hear the person next to you or the person practicing on the screen next to you, breathe a little bit louder. Remind them to come back. Add the bind if you haven't already. Yeah, and you're just changing little pieces about the pose, but the legs stay super powerful. That front knee right on top of the front ankle. One more breath here. High to low push-up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a full breath in together. Exhale it out. Breathe in. Breath out. One more. Empty to the pit of your belly. Step or jump, feet to hands. Halfway lift, tricep pull. Fold down. Chair pose and stay. A wide leg chair. So feet maybe almost mat width distance apart. Reach through your fingertips. So it may feel more like a bear squat. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Stick your tailbone way out behind you. Hands to heart. Twist right. When you open your arms, right hand down to the floor, left hand up to the sky. So you can't necessarily squeeze your knee on that arm, but you can press your bottom arm to the inside of your left knee. Get some traction there. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chair pose. Fold. Good stuff. First 2 fingers around your big toes. Bend your knees as much as you want to help tip your tailbone up to the ceiling. Tap back into your breath. Go for crow pose number 1 from the head of your mat. Just coming around with some blocks for some of you who do not have one. Crow pose number 1. Set your gaze right at a spot in front of your fingertips. Belly in and up, and then let the breath happen. Big, powerful breaths in your crow that fill up the whole upper part of your back. One more inhale. Step or jump back, low push-up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take one breath in together. Full exhale out. Move forward. Halfway lift, tricep pull. Fold down. Nice wide bear squat. Sit down on your hips, feet wide apart. Reach through your fingertips. Resist the urge to let your stomach just hang down towards the floor because you're in such a low, wide squat. Pull it in and up. Hands to heart twist left. Left arm down towards the floor. Maybe it's on a block. Right hand up to the sky. Low and down on your hips for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gorilla. Step on your palms. Oh, you guys are good. I tried to cheat that chair pose out of there for you, and you just went ahead and did it anyway. So gorilla, step on your palms. Toes all the way up to your wrists. You can wiggle your toes to stretch out your wrists a little bit, or bend and straighten your knees. Before we go into crow number 2, I want you to take your block by the upper right corner of your mat and take your left 2 fingers around your left big toe. Some of you know where we're headed, and maybe it's your favorite thing and maybe it's not. But for those of you who are new, I want both of your feet to be about hip width distance apart. And then you're lifting that left leg up and to the side. So the left leg stays straight. It's not coming forward or coming back. It's just straight out to the side, and you can use that block to lean into for more support. Yeah, and so for some of you, it'll be like a couple inches, and you're thinking, how the heck, like I cannot get my leg any higher than that. Perfect, just stay right there. You're lifting it as high as you can for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Shake out your hips a little bit. Move your block to the upper left-hand corner of your mat. Left hand on the block. Right 2 fingers around your right big toe. Same thing on this side. Lift up and out toward the side. Best you can. It helps to stare at the floor at one spot to help keep the balance. Stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feet to the mat. Shake it out a little bit. It's not very often we work the outside of that hip flexor there. Okay, crow number 2. Now that you've got new muscles to use in it, crow number 2. If you want to take this crow upside down, you're more than welcome to, or practice jumping back to chaturanga, that's there too. Eyes on one spot, fingertips in the ground. There you go, Daniela. Keep pressing with your fingertips. Strong. Press the ground away. Yes. One more breath. Step or jump back. Low push-up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a full breath in together. Exhale it out. Breath in. Breath out. One more. Empty. Move forward, feet to hands. Halfway lift, tricep pull. Fold down. Rise all the way up to standing. Eagle pose, right side. Right arm under, right leg over. Set your gaze on one spot. Get settled into the 4 corners of your standing foot. We're doing a couple of different things tonight. We've already tried on a couple of different things because a lot of times when we say hip focus, people are like, oh, we're just going to be opening hips the entire time. There's a lot of stuff going on in your hips. Left side eagle, left arm under, left leg over. So a lot of different muscle groups, a lot of different layers that work together to stabilize your hips and your pelvis. 4 corners of the standing foot straight down. Let them be heavy. Press them through the mat and into the floor. Right side eagle, second set. Add more breath on this one. Steady, smooth Ujjayi breath. Keep your arms bound. Take airplane with your legs. You got it. Slow, steady, stretch all the way out through that lifted foot as far back as it'll go. Full airplane, reach your arms back. You got it. Long and straight, the whole front side of your body. Half moon, left hand to the floor or your block, right hand up to the sky. Now you can use that outer hip muscle that you just stretched to help peel your left hip open toward the ceiling. Yes, where you reach, yeah, there you go, Al, a little bit more than that. That tipping point where it feels like you might fall over, then both feet to the floor. Eagle pose, left side, second set. Left arm under, left leg over. Get settled, just this one pose. Breath in this pose, the 4 corners of the standing foot in this one pose. Arms stay bound, airplane. A bound airplane. Let all of those toes on the lifted foot point towards the floor. Closed hip. Full airplane. Reach the arms back and press your chest past the front edge of your mat. Half moon. Right hand to the floor, block. Left hand straight up. Put the focus on the hips, that top hip stacking directly over the bottom hip. You'll know you found the sweet spot because it feels like right at the point that you might tip backwards. Yes, Bob, beautiful. One more breath. Both feet to the mat. Yeah, it's that scary spot where it's like, oh gosh, I'm going to lose my balance going backwards. Standing bow or dancer's pose, right side. One breath at a time in this pose, no rush. Slow and steady so that you can really land. This pose is your opportunity to check in. Are your shoulders open? Are things warmed up? Does something still feel tight? Are you caught up in your head and can you get back down into your body? That's what you're doing here in this pose. For one more breath, switch sides. It's your halfway checkpoint. Standing bow or dancers on the left. Steady and strong. So whether the balance is super strong today or it's less strong today, not the important part. The important part is just to check in physically. What's going on right now? Just right now. One more breath. Switch. Right side, second set. Use the strap, use a towel, use your hand, whichever feels like the best fit in this pose, go for it. Eyes on one spot. Work on dialing the outer edge of your right hip down towards the floor. Closed hips. Yeah, that little bit, increment by increment, so that the stretch increases across the front of the thigh. Yes, Steph, just like that. One more breath. Switch sides. One more. You got it. Last one. It's your opportunity. How much space do you have? Where's your head in this moment? Give it a job to do by paying attention to what's occurring in your body. Last breath. Feet to the mat. Tree pose. Right side. Any tree variation you want. You can stick with the hip opener one and stick with that theme of attention on the hips, or choose a different variation that calls to you. Hands start at heart center. Take your pose, any variation you want. So whether the inner thighs are close together or they're far apart here, have those muscles squeeze into center line. The inner thigh muscles into center line. If your foot, the sole of your foot's on your thigh, press that into the inner thigh. Connect. One more breath. Switch sides. Tree pose on the left. Any arm variation you want, same one or a different one. The muscles of the inner thighs, your adductor muscles, pull them in towards center. Big breath. Both feet to the mat. Come up to the head of your mat if you're not there already, so you've got plenty of room. Extended mountain reach up to the ceiling. Forward fold. Halfway lift, tricep pull. High push up. Need a tricep. Need a tricep. Low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right side triangle. Step through. Triangle pose is really similar to half moon in that you've got one foot pointing straight ahead at 12 o'clock and the other hip is rotating out and open. So even though you've got that back foot on the floor, that same action of peeling your left hip open and back is still here. Add more breath. Keep working the hips. The left hip peels open towards the ceiling. That inner front thigh pulls back and underneath you. Press into your feet, rise up to standing. Side facing wide leg fold. Ninja lunges on this side, of course. Bend your right knee, sink into your right hip. Over into the left knee and into your left hip. Then off you go, side to side at your own pace. You decide if you want to marinate on one side and hang out in that space and stretch, or switch over to the other side a little more quickly. Similar to a spatula, just scraping that last bit of batter out of the bowl. You've got your thigh bones rotating around in your hip joints and making space. You've got another breath or two to get complete with wherever you're working. Meet back in center. Nice control, Daniela. Press down and rise up. Namaste, front facing forward fold or splits. If you're taking the Namaste fold, take a bind behind your back, either hand to elbow or reverse Namaste. If you're taking the splits, you've got at least one block that you can use at this point. Hinge forward. For both poses, the Namaste fold and the split, squeeze your inner thighs together like you're closing a pair of scissors. Yes, Paul, like the left thigh, left hip comes forward, right thigh, right hip pulls straight back. Nice, all these little micro adjustments, keep working that together. Right hip back, left hip forward. Twisting triangle or twisting splits. Hips stay square right where they are, doing that work of closing the scissors, then ring out to the side of the room. So whether the arm is straight out to the side or it's going higher up to the ceiling, let the twist happen in your torso, the chest open towards the long edge of your mat. For one more breath, and high to low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot between your hands, triangle. Focus on your hips. The right hip, the front hip crease straight back, and then the right hip peels open toward the ceiling. Add more breath. Yeah, and you can play around with coming in and out of the pose a little bit so you can play to adjust your hips. Sometimes it helps to get a little softness in both of the knees, and that'll give you the space you need to adjust the hips. Yes. Good. Press into your feet. Rise up to standing. Side facing wide leg fold. Both feet parallel. Interlace your hands at your low back or put a towel between your hands. Then hinge forward. Keep that bind. It might feel nice to sway side to side, like you're pulling a little more on one shoulder, and then on the other side, you're pulling a little more on the opposite shoulder, just to open up that tissue a little more. Yeah, maybe it's shaking out your head, yes and no, giving your neck some space to work with. Release your hands down, press into your feet and rise to stand. Namaste, front facing forward fold, facing the front of your mat, or splits. Square hips, hinge forward. The human body's super smart. It likes to take you out of some of the work and go, oh no, I can handle this with these muscles. We don't have to work those other muscles. Just keep fighting against that a little bit in this pose. Right hip forward, left hip straight back. That twisting of the hips is trying to take you out of the hamstring stretch, and you just keep coming back and making the adjustment. Twisting triangle or twisting splits. Even though you've got both legs long and straight, whether it's in splits or the Namaste fold, a little bit of softness to both of the knees just so you've got some room to work with. One more breath here. High to low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in together. Clear it out. 2 more. Breathe in. Breath out. Last one. Exhale completely. Roll out to a high plank. 2 options here. You can hold the high plank or do knees out to your triceps for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way to the floor. Locust pose or Superman. Reach your arms back for locust, back by your hips, or arms out in front for your locust, or arms out in front for Superman, rather. Rise up and away from the mat. Big full breaths from this pose all the way to the end of the back bends. Big, powerful breath that fill your entire lungs to the edges of your ribs. Lower down. Rock the hips out left and right. Just building that momentum a little bit at a time. Locust or Superman, choose your pose, rise up. Big, powerful breathing right in the top of your chest and your upper back where the lungs can expand fully. Lower down. Take it side to side. Floor bone number 1 of 2. Bend your knees and grab your ankles. Rise up and away from the floor. Big full breaths here. You got it. You've got all the stuff. You've done all the work. You've got all the tools. Just come up and away from the floor and press back through your shins. Last breath in. Lower down. Take it side to side. Floor bone number 2. Switch feet or switch ankles or grab both again. Rise up. Shin straight back and heart straight forward. This is the biggest back bend you've got so far. So open the whole front side of your body and lower down. Hips side to side to release your low back. Upward facing dog. Rise up off the mat. Downward facing dog. Press back. Look between your hands. Step or jump through to sit. Come down into bridge pose. You've got it. Don't lose that momentum. Back on the floor, feet flat on the floor. Rise up. You can bind your hands at your low back to help tuck your shoulder heads underneath you and then plug your big toe mound straight into the floor. Big, powerful pose. One more breath together. Lower down. Knees left and right. All right, yogis, wheel number 1. Tuck your fingertips under your shoulders. Press, lift, go. It's wheel or bridge. You just come right up into the pose. Yeah, just choose the one you want and take that opportunity. Then tuck your chin and lower down. Breathe in together. Full breath out. Number 2, press, lift, go. Fingertips and big toes. Start there and then work your way up to the center of the pose. Tuck your chin and lower. Breath in. Breath out. Number 3, press, lift, go. You've got all the tools. Press and go. Nothing in your way. Nothing to stop you. Lower down. Breath in. Breath out. Number 4, past that halfway point. Rise up. Feet and hands connected to your mat. Lower down. Breathe in. Breath out. 2 more, yogis. Number 5, press, lift, go. Wheel or bridge, choose the pose, go on up. Beautiful. Big toes down on the mat. Tuck your chin and lower. Full breath. Big exhale. Last one. This one, full expression, the fullest expression that you've got left for your bridge or your wheel for 5, 4, 3, you got it, 2, 1, lower down. Supta Baddha Konasana. Press the soles of your feet together. Let your hands land on somewhere, a body part, the floor, wherever it needs to land. Dead bug, soles of the feet up to the sky. You can grab the edges of your feet or the backs of your thighs in your dead bug. Yeah, now keep that grip on your thighs or on the edges of your feet. Whole spine down to the mat. Straighten out your right leg as best you can. Keep the left knee bent in dead bug. Yeah, it might not straighten all the way. That's fine. You're just straightening as best you can. Bend that knee, straighten the opposite leg. Oh, yeah. Straighten that out to the side. Let it stretch. One more time on the right leg. Long. Press through the center of the heel. One more time on the left leg. I know. Lengthen and stretch. Hug your knees into your chest. Give them a squeeze. Legs straight up to the sky. Set up for scissor legs. Hands either behind your head or underneath your hips. Lower your right leg halfway to the mat. Take a breath in. Exhale, switch your legs. Good. Breathe in. Exhale, switch. Keep going at your own pace, matching your breath. So a breath linked to your movement very specifically. Those inhales and exhales might be a little shorter to account for the pace of your legs moving up and down. Keep going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees into your chest. Give them a squeeze. Rock forward and back. Make your way up into boat pose. You can have your heels on the ground for boat or heels in the air. Hands on your thighs or hands out to the side. Just regular standard boat. Super long spine. Yes, Elle. Come up and away from the floor. Spread your chest nice and broad. Beautiful. Breathe in. Stay for the exhale. Squeeze it in. 2 more like that. Breathe in. Hug in on the exhale. Last one. Hug in. Downward facing dog. Make your way there. Whew. It's a sweaty one tonight, folks. Lizard lunge, right side. Step your right foot on the outside of your right hand. So similar to the crescent lunge with knee down, but this time both your arms are on the inside of your leg. Squeeze the side of your thigh to the side of your ribs. And then customize your pose. Your knee can be up or down in the back. You can stay up on your palms or bring your elbows to the floor. Maybe the elbows are on a block. That's a good in-between space. Inner thigh to the side of your ribs. Just stay right there. Closed hip to start. I know that urge. I also want to open my knee here. I don't want to stay in this one. I want to do the open hip part. Stay. Turn your front foot out to like 2 o'clock on a clock face and let the knee drop out to the side. So you'll probably come onto the blade edge of your right foot. And then it's the hand in the middle of your thigh. Middle of your thigh. So you're pressing the meat of the thigh away instead of the side of your knee. You can stay here or add the last piece, which is bending your back knee and grabbing a hold of that back hand or back foot with your right hand. Grabbing your back foot with your right hand. If the hip opening in front is plenty enough information, stay right there. Everyone take one more breath in wherever you are. Long exhale. Right side half pigeon. You can walk the foot across or take downward facing dog to reset it. Right side half pigeon. Yeah, pose on your back's a good way to go too in that half pigeon. You've been doing a lot of work, working all the different muscle groups around the hip, around the side of your glute, all of those pieces. So put your attention on your right hip. Does it feel any different? Does it feel like something else is occurring? Or does this feel like business as usual? If you're in a space of my hip just feels like it always feels in half pigeon, shift something in your pose. Shift something in your pose. Where is the potential for more opening, for more space? Steady breath. A few more breaths here. Let your exhales be nice and long so your whole body can settle into this pose a little bit deeper. Downward facing dog, shake it out. Lizard lunge, left side, left foot on the outside of your left wrist. Set yourself up. Make sure that front ankle is directly under the knee or a little bit in front of the knee. If the ankle's behind the knee, keep scooting it forward until it's not anymore. Yeah, there you go. Scooching that foot forward, an anatomical term for moving your foot forward. Set yourself up. Squeeze it into the side of the thigh to start. That's something to consider too. Like if you prefer poses that are closed hip like this, you got both of your hips facing the same direction, maybe a little more opening is something you should put your attention on. Or if you like all the open hip stuff and your hips are super flexible, stay here. Build the container a little stronger. Turn the foot out, 10 o'clock on the clock face, and let the knee drop out to the left. You might even have your right forearm down on the block or the floor while you've got your left hand on your thigh. Juicy stretch. Stay or grab the back foot with your left hand to add that piece of quad stretch in there. You want to make sure if you're doing that quad stretch that the top of a space above your knees touching the mat instead of right on the kneecap. Left side half pigeon. Make your way there. Use the tools you've got, the block, the towel, whatever it is that you need to customize the half pigeon. Steady breath here. Start to make your exhales a little bit longer than your inhales at this point in your practice. With each exhale, let the muscles soften. Let the joints have some more room. Let your brain have a little more room. Few more breaths here. Downward facing dog, shake it out. Seated wide leg fold or frog pose is next. You choose. You can take the frog on your back with your feet against the wall. You can take the seated wide leg fold sitting on a block so you can really get those sit bones out behind you. Customizing that practice all the way to the end. Take the time to set yourself up so everything can get situated and then settle into stillness when you're situated. It might be that one of these poses is your arch nemesis at this point in your practice. That's fine. You're like, yeah, get situated. Okay. Eye roll. Do the best you can. Those of you with the feet against the wall, if it kind of feels like, okay, I'm getting a little bit of stretch in my hips, but not as much as I used to, you can walk your feet closer towards the floor. So they're still pointing out to 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, but they're just closer down towards the floor. Seated wide leg folds, toes up to the ceiling. Yes, good adjustments. You've got 3 more breath cycles wherever you are. Long inhale with a pause, long exhale with a pause. Then at the end of your 3rd breath cycle, start to make your way out of this pose. Seated forward fold is next. Both legs straight out in front, toes straight up to the ceiling. Hinge forward and melt over your legs. So you can bend your knees a little or a lot. Sometimes I like to bend my knees a ton so I can really press my stomach into my thighs. Helps add the stretch in the back line of your body, that middle part of your back. For a lot of people, it's a dead zone and there's not much stretch or any movement going on there. Take one more breath in. Stay for the exhale. Let your head hang. Tabletop or reverse plank. Plant your palms behind your hips. Fingertips face the front edge of your mat. So if you're taking tabletop, bent knees with flat feet on the floor, and reverse planks, point your toes straight forward. One more breath. Lift, lift, lift. Lower your hips. Fish pose is next. You can stick a block between your shoulder blades or tuck your hands underneath you. If you're tucking the hands, tuck them probably past your butt cheeks, maybe even to the backs of your thighs so that the top of your head can touch the ground. Try on Supta Baddha Konasana legs here. Press the soles of your feet together, big toe mounds together. So as your shoulder blades hug together on that block or hug together underneath you with your hands tucked, the edges of your feet press into each other too. Take one more breath. Full exhale. Make your way onto your back. Time to get upside down. Your last opportunity to get everything inverted, to get the blood moving the opposite direction. Choose any inversion you want. Everybody's got a block, so maybe today it's waterfall with a block underneath the low back, that bony plate right at the bottom of your spine. All of those different pieces in mind that you've been working on, your attention to detail, the different parts of the hips, now working together, one stabilizing center part of your body to help you while you're upside down. Steady breath. Keep that piece moving. Headstands, handstands. You've got another breath or two, and then child's pose to reset. Shoulder stands, waterfalls if you'd like. Plow pose. And plow to deaf yogi. Bend your knees. Hug them around the sides of your head. Squeeze in. Slowly lower down, one piece at a time. Hug your knees into your chest. Give them a squeeze. Supine twist right. Drop your knees one way, twist and look the opposite way. And then while you're in your supine twist, you could use your hand to do this or just thinking about it and you press that part of your body away. That top ridge of your left hip, press it straight to the front edge of your mat. So you'll be lengthening your side waist And hopefully feeling a little bit of a deeper stretch on the outside of your left hip, that top hip. Push the ridge of that bone, the ridge of your hip away from you towards the front edge of your mat. Switch sides. Start with the shoulder blades down on the mat, get settled. And press the top ridge of the right hip straight away from your body towards the front edge of your mat. You could be shifting that hip further away or using your hand to physically move the ridge of that hip away from your body. Come back to center, Supta Baddha Konasana. Feet to touch one last time. Shavasana. You've got your cold eye towel. Put that wherever you'd like. Let all of your bones settle down into the mat and take one last breath in. Fill yourself up, up, up. Exhale it out. Let your entire body rest easy on your mat. Deepen your breath. Bring some movement back to your hands and your feet. And plant your feet on the floor and rock onto your right side. With your eyes still closed, press down and rise up. Take a comfortable seat. Inhale, reach your hands overhead. Exhale, thumbs to heart center. We'll finish up practice together with 3 final ohms. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. Thumb knuckles to forehead center. Thank you all so much coming in the very humid, sweaty studio or signing in online, making your practice happen. Namaste. Good work, everybody. A little extra work on getting the junk out of our hips. So, Himalayan, any questions? Let me know. Any other questions at all? Also let me know, because I'll be floating around by the front desk. Have an awesome rest of your Tuesday, and hopefully I will see you on Thursday.